Toyota's rugged electric wagon returns for a sophomore year with few changes to a formula that already worked. The BZ Woodland carries over its dual-motor powertrain, off-road hardware, and wagon-meets-SUV styling, arriving in early 2027 as a carryover model rather than a redesign. The BZ Woodland only launched for 2026, so Toyota isn't rushing to reinvent it. Industry expectations point to the 2027 model arriving in early 2027, with no major mechanical or styling overhaul. That's typical for a nameplate still in its first generation. Automakers tend to let a fresh design run for several years before touching it, and the Woodland's debut version was well received enough that Toyota has little incentive to tinker. Buyers cross-shopping the 2026 and 2027 versions should expect the differences to be minor. Trim shuffling, possible color additions, and small equipment tweaks, rather than anything structural. This kind of restraint also reflects how new the Woodland is within Toyota's broader EV strategy. The company has been steadily expanding its battery electric lineup after a slower start than some rivals, and the Woodland represents one of its more successful recent moves, pairing genuine off-road capability with a segment, rugged compact SUVs, that had been mostly untouched by mainstream electric automakers. Protecting that momentum with a quiet second model year, rather than risking a rushed update, fits the cautious pattern Toyota has followed with other recently launched EV nameplates. The Woodland's face carries over its C-shaped daytime running lights, a horizontal light bar connecting them, small circular headlights, and a wide lower air intake. In profile, chunky fender cladding, deep door cutouts, blacked-out roof pillars, and oversized roof rails separate it visually from the standard BZ. Around back, triangular taillights tied together by a light bar and a heavy-duty bumper finish the adventure-ready look. Compared with the regular BZ SUV, the Woodland measures roughly 5.6 inches longer overall, giving it more of a rugged wagon stance than a conventional crossover silhouette. Inside, the 2027 model is expected to mirror the outgoing car's tiered dashboard, digital gauge cluster set low near the windshield base, and a large central touchscreen. Rectangular vents, a wide center console with some physical switchgear, and chunky steering wheel controls round out a cabin designed to feel functional rather than minimalistic. Toyota's approach favors physical buttons for climate and volume alongside the touchscreen, a deliberate contrast to rivals that have gone all in on screen-based controls. Expect the same 14-inch central touchscreen, a 7-inch digital instrument cluster, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, satellite radio, 4 USB ports, dual wireless charging pads, and a 6-speaker audio system as standard equipment. Stepping up to a premium trim has typically added a JBL premium sound system, ventilated front seats with memory settings, a panoramic moonroof, and front radiant heaters. None of this hardware is expected to change for 2027 since it was only introduced a year earlier and remains competitive against rival infotainment setups. The current BZ Woodland uses a single powertrain configuration, dual electric motors paired with standard all-wheel drive, producing a combined 375 horsepower and 396 pound-feet of torque. That output made it the most powerful Toyota EV on sale, and quick enough to hit 60 miles per hour in roughly 4.4 seconds. With no redesign planned, the 2027 model should carry the same dual-motor setup and power figures, rather than introduce a new performance variant. The Woodland pairs its powertrain with a 74.7 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery, rated for up to 281 miles of range on standard all-season tires. Opting for the available all-terrain rubber trims that estimate down to around 260 miles, a reasonable trade-off for buyers prioritizing traction over maximum range. Barring a mid-cycle battery update, which isn't expected this soon after launch, the 2027 model should post identical EPA figures to its predecessor. Ground clearance measures roughly 8.4 inches, putting the Woodland in territory usually associated with Subaru's rugged models rather than typical electric crossovers. Toyota backs that clearance with X mode and grip control systems tuned for snow, dirt, and uneven surfaces, plus optional all-terrain tires at no extra cost. Towing capacity tops out at 3,500 pounds, well above what most compact electric SUVs offer. And the Woodland ships standard with a 120-volt, 240-volt dual-voltage charging cable and a NACS to CCS adapter. These features position it as a genuine trail-capable option, rather than a crossover with cosmetic off-road styling alone. The 2026 BZ Woodland launched with a manufacturer's suggested retail price ranging from $45,300 to $46,750 depending on configuration, with the range-topping premium trim landing closer to $48,850. Since Toyota isn't planning significant changes for 2027, pricing is likely to see only a modest increase rather than a substantial jump, following the pattern typical of second-year models in a lineup. Buyers watching for deals should also note that Toyota has periodically offered several $1,000s in customer cash and lease incentives on the current Woodland, a pattern that could continue once 2027 inventory arrives and dealers look to clear remaining 2026 stock. Federal and state EV incentives could further affect the effective purchase price, though eligibility rules shift often enough that shoppers should confirm current terms with a dealer rather than assume last year's incentives carry over unchanged. The BZ Woodland shares its underlying platform with the Subaru Trailseeker, essentially a badge-engineered twin, and competes against the Honda Prologue, Chevrolet Blazer EV, Kia EV9, and Hyundai Ioniq 9. Against the Trailseeker specifically, the Woodland has typically carried a higher sticker price for largely overlapping hardware, which means Toyota loyalists and dealer network access are likely bigger factors in the purchase decision than any outright capability gap between the two. Buyers cross-shopping this segment should expect Woodland's blend of power and off-road readiness to remain a genuine differentiator against more street-focused rivals like the Blazer EV or Prologue. None of those competitors currently match the Woodland's combination of ground clearance, standard all-wheel drive, and factory-backed off-road driving modes, which is precisely the gap Toyota built the Woodland to fill. The Kia EV9 and Hyundai Ioniq 9 counter with 3-row seating and more outright interior space, appealing to larger families rather than trail-focused buyers. The Honda Prologue and Chevrolet Blazer EV lean toward comfort and value rather than rugged capability, leaving the Woodland and its Trailseeker twin as the closest thing to a genuine off-road-oriented option in this price bracket. Toyota introduced the 2026 BZ Woodland in February 2026, with deliveries beginning the following month. If that cadence holds, the 2027 model should reach dealerships in a similar late winter to early spring window, though Toyota has not published an official on-sale date as of this writing. Shoppers should treat specific figures here as informed projections rather than confirmed specs, since Toyota typically finalizes exact pricing and trim details closer to launch.